invigorated, vivacious, persuasive speaker this country really may have quite ever seen. And that was not the guy that showed up to that debate. So I don't think it was an issue of just demeanor. I think
he's been busy. The only thing on his agenda is not.
Well, that's true, but he hasn't been busy creating new jobs.
He's actually running a country, so.
Right, but he hasn't been busy creating new jobs. He hasn't been busy guaranteeing security in the Middle East. I think there are a lot of people that are wondering exactly what he's been so busy doing.
I mean, but Randy, you know, there's been a theory out there that sort of the President Obama strategically was sort of, as you said, had a lackluster performance because he wanted to be a little bit more relatable. He didn't want to just come across as a lot of talk. But, you know, to Phil's point, people are going to be paying more attention to how he's coming across almost non-verbally than the actual substance of things he's going to say. Do you think that it was strategic if the Democratic Party had wanted President Obama to act in a certain way for the debate? Do you think that was strategic? And how should he be coming in for the second round? You being a Republican, how should he be coming in if he wants to get back to where he was before the first debate?
Well, so I mean, I think that one of his biggest advantages was his ability to speak persuasively about his ideas and policies, right? And I've said, and you've probably heard me say on past debates here, that I think we saw a fantastic candidate Obama, and now I'm still waiting 4 years later for him to transition into President Obama. But I think that if he wants to sort of bounce back from his performance a couple of weeks ago, what would go strongly to his advantage is to come back to that candidate Obama. So be the invigorated, vivacious guy that we saw 4 years ago. I mean, so many people remember his acceptance speech, when he was in Chicago, and, you saw just like the passion and the drive there. And I think that the American people were left wondering where a lot of that went.
Right, but do you really think that would work for them? I mean, a lot of people are disappointed, and I think that seeing that could deter them. That
what he did at the first debate didn't work for them, right? So it didn't get the people motivated. It didn't help him bounce back. It didn't help his poll ratings. So he's got to try something. So you may as well bring back the guy that this country fell in love with 4 years ago, because I don't know what other choice you have.
Okay, fair enough. And you know, one of our first debates we've had on here was actually about style versus substance. You know, remember early on in the campaign, we saw the president singing Al Green. We saw him trying to appeal to a sort of more fluffier audience, or on the fluffier appeal. Do you think, Liza, do you think that Mitt Romney's strategy worked for him? And what do you think he really needs to do to continue gaining some momentum on Tuesday?
I think he needs to get his stories straight. First of all, a bunch of them, they're all jumbled. It seems like he's written a book and mixed up the chapters and just jumbled words around and really doesn't know what he's trying to say.
What did you find? What specifically did you find to be
You know how much time and energy that is? You'll never know. I'll never know everything I need to know.
What is going on?
My sister's complaining.
Phil, do you mind just hitting mute until you speak?
There's no mute button on
this. All right. Liza, Randy was asking you. Randy was asking you what you found to be mismatched.
I mean, I've read all the fact-checking sites and articles, and I don't have a list in front of me right now, but I mean...
No, I know, and my goal in that question is not to ask you for a list, but to say, what specifically, like what I saw, and granted I'm biased, right, but what I saw when I watched that first debate was I saw a candidate come out there, give very specific, in-depth plans for the economy, and then I saw his opponent really not. So what I'm wondering is, when you finish the debate, what were you left thinking? Like, what did you want but didn't get from him?
From which?
From Mitt Romney.
I guess I didn't get, for me, a lot of the debate. I mean, up until now, we hear sound bites, we read articles. Debates are a time to get to know the person and really, see how they respond quickly in the moment, kind of have their personality shine. And I really didn't feel any kind of authentic connection. I mean, I sometimes can be very moderate, and I do agree with some of the more conservative plans or economic stances, but I really didn't get a sense of like security and that he really was confident. I kind of felt like it was too much emotion and too much caught up, and it just didn't connect. I mean, you know what I'm saying in terms of...
No, I think that's fair. And I think also part of that is...
Feathers.
Yeah, and I think that part of that is the nature of the debate. Like, the first one was meant to be entirely the economy, so, like, the subject matter was really dry, Like, I'm sure you saw jokes, Twitter, Facebook, whatever, about people falling asleep. Like, I was falling asleep, It was boring. And I think this one, foreign and domestic policy, is a much more interesting topic, so I think we'll probably see a little bit more, hopefully, of like their passion and
Randy, do you think that people place? Liza made an interesting point about she wanted personality to shine through, but do you think the average American places a lot more emphasis on style versus substance? On a nonverbal communication, on the way they're rebuting?
I think. So two responses to that. So the first is I absolutely think so, because if you watch the first debate, they got really in depth in terms of like specific facets of economic plans. And I guarantee you that went over the heads of the vast majority of people that were watching those debates. Like, honestly, the American public is like too stupid to understand most of what they were talking about. So then, you default to the style rather than the substance. And the other point that I think is really interesting here is if you go back to the Kennedy-Nixon debates. So the Kennedy-Nixon debates were the first televised presidential debates ever. And they did some really interesting polling after the debate based on users who listened to it on the radio and users who watched it on TV. And so anyone who listened to it on the radio thought, without a doubt, Nixon won, hands down. When they watched it on TV, they thought Kennedy won, hands down. Nixon had a 5 o'clock shadow. He looked tired. He looked exhausted. Kennedy was this dashing, young, exciting new candidate, and they thought no matter what, that he gave a better performance. So I think some of what everyone's responding to here is a little bit of that Kennedy-Nixon debate syndrome.
Okay, and so you think for Tuesday that Obama needs to be back to where he was, charismatic, talking in the Obama voice, which we didn't really get at the last debate. And you think...
Watch SNL, you'll get plenty of it.
I was going to say, ask Jay Farrow to fill in.
Do you a quick side note? Do you guys like do you guys like Jay Farrow as the new Obama? Because I am having a hard time adjusting. I miss.
Awesome.
The voice is spot on. I mean, I do think Pat Armisen was great, but yeah, Jay Farrow kills it.
Yeah, I think you should fill in.
Can we have a debate about the new, or an up with Upton about the new SNL season and how they're trying to find their groove?
Sure. We could do that next week. But I want to ask Phil real quickly before we end. Phil, we obviously know Randy's been the token Republican on the panel. Liza's been the token Democrat. Where do you stand? Has your opinion changed? Are you more apathetic than you were when we spoke a few months ago? And what do you think what do you want to hear in the debates that will change your opinion, if anything?
I'm leaning more towards the liberal side now. Leaning towards, I want to see change, actually. Obama promised change, and we got some change. I want more change.
Got some change?
Yeah, we got some change. We got Obamacare and what else? But I want more change. I want the economy to pick up. I want to see America be the booming business that it's supposed to be. And
like reminiscent of Clinton era. Hello,
Clinton era.
We're not going to get that if we go back to the dark side.
I understand the economy comes and flows naturally, and maybe the presidents don't have that much power to actually control it. But I would like to see change, and I would like to see someone who is more business-oriented take over the country. and see what he can do.
What do you mean business oriented? That sounds like Romney.
That does sound like Mitt Romney. I was gonna say that,
Yeah,
but I'm surprised Randy didn't jump in right then.
I am gonna let you guys do it for me.
Come on, guys. Are we really ready? Did anyone watch 30 Rock this week? Tracy Jordan said, and we're gonna have Mitt Romney's a merman. He doesn't live in the sea. Are we ready for a Mormon president? That is the answer. The question.
Well, that's a question.
That's a question. All right. Well, on that note, thanks guys for your time. We'll talk again after the debate, and really appreciate your contributions.
Peace.
Thank you.